Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all the storytelling, world building, and characters of video games. Because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and this is episode 137.
And I totally did not take like 1,000 takes to say the thing I say at the beginning of every episode that's usually as easy as me breathing air. But here we are.
Yep. Before we get into the episode, if you'd like to contact us, you can do that in many different ways. Instagram, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Reddit, YouTube, Steam, and Discord down in the description down below. Or you can contact us via email at loretogether@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, we hope you do. You can do that in two different ways. First is 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever it is, wherever you're listening, we appreciate it. The other is through Patreon at patreon.com/loretogether. We can pay a per episode pledge to get early access to episodes, exclusive access to some Let's Plays, voting rights in other Let's Plays, as well as voting rights in what episodes will be coming up. So, yeah.
Yeah, and bonus, you can get a free ebook version of my debut sci-fi novel, Mother Revolution, which is out now. For those of you who want to read it the traditional way, you can get a physical copy through bookshop.org, which is where you can decide which of your favorite local indie bookstores will be supported by your purchase. Anyway,
know what we're covering.
Yeah, it's more, speaking of science fiction, we have that game that we were covering last time. So we went through all of the main plot of Half-Life.
Yes.
The first one. The one that made crowbars famous.
The 3 main expansions for Half-Life.
Now you say 3 main expansions. Are there more outside of this?
So technically, multiplayer is an expansion.
Okay.
I didn't dive into that because it's multiplayer.
Usually not as story focused. Yeah.
Not as story focused. There's probably stuff you could glean from it, but I didn't dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
I focused more on the story driven ones. There is one of the story driven ones that is multiplayer. We'll get to it.
Okay.
And just a note on canon in general. This was fascinating to find out because I didn't know this before this episode.
Oh.
Mark Laidlaw.
Yes.
One of the Half-Life series writers, has basically says that Valve do not really care about canon.
Oh, no.
Canon is something that fans come up with.
This is very Gene Roddenberry of him.
Basically, they don't want to be pigeonholed by one line.
For the rest of their...
one line a character says, we can never use that character that contradicts that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean they're completely against canon.
Right. But they're not beholden to canon in the same way that some other developers make you think they are.
But I also think they're not as free wielding with it as, say, the Mario or Legend of Zelda series are. Like, they still have a continuation and a timeline with,
broadly speaking.
Gordon Freeman.
It's just if the details don't mesh, then just don't bother.
Let's just smooth that over.
Yep. Also, a reminder, we are doing broad strokes.
Also, with the G-Man involved, is canon really something that we as humans can comprehend?
No.
I was going to say.
All right, we're going to open up with Half-Life Blue Shift.
Blue Shift. So, does this take place right after we've defeated the whole...
No, so here's the cool thing. All of the stories for the expansions... Mm-hmm. all interweave with the main story.
So they're happening around the same time, but is it like a different protagonist or different? Yeah. Okay.
So Blue Shift, what do you think we're doing?
Blues Club?
No. What?
I just wanted to confound Mystic there, guys. That's all.
So in Blue Shift, we're playing as Barney Calhoun, a security guard at Black Mesa.
Oh, shift isn't like your job shift. Yeah. Sorry. I'm salary. I haven't thought about that in quite some time.
Now, there's a bit of weirdness around Barney outside the events of Blue Shift. We're going to jump a little bit of the timeline here. We do meet Barney in Half-Life 2.
Oh, cool.
But there was a line of dialogue, in fact, I think it might be one of his first lines of dialogue where you know it's Barney, that implies a conversation with Gordon Freeman that never happens. It's another guard that tells him that line. So the only thing we could surmise from this is that Barney is in fact a demigod who can be in many places at once, and all guards are in fact Barney interacting with humanity to learn about mortals. Look, if they're not going to define official canon, we can just make up our own.
I'm fine with this, considering this is still not as crazy as some of the things that I know about the Elder Scrolls universe. So if we're going to let all that stuff fly, I'm here for Barney, the security guard demigod that is observing humanity as he knows it during this time of crisis. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
So, one fan theory actually is that Valve didn't quite know how popular Barney was going to actually be as a character.
Oh.
And they kind of just jammed it all together. Like, all security guards just, oh, this was a cool line, this was a cool bit. Again, canon is a thing that fans come up with.
Well, when we were playing the live stream, I was surprised by how many assets were reused for the NPCs.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like the scientists get 3 different faces.
Yeah, you have like 3 or 4 different faces. You have the one black scientist who is...
The black scientist who looks super serious.
Yeah, who is Eli Vance, but again, there's like 20 of him.
There's 20 Yeah, and I do mean copy-paste of faces, because even when you look at the 2 other white scientist options, there's Bozo Clown option or I should have been in the military option, and they all are just copy-paste. I was like, how many... Especially because the Bozo Clown option one, the hair is just and mustache are out there. So I kept seeing it. I'm like, is this the same guy? No, it's just a third of the scientists here all look like
again,
this.
98.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to say it's a bad video game because of it.
Yeah.
I'm just here to say it's hilarious to think that one of the quirks of this company is that everybody looks alike.
Yeah.
All the security guards looked alike too. I don't even think there was any variation of skin tone amongst any of them.
But again, 98, this is the N64 era. This is beginnings of 3D games.
Yes.
So
the polygons were quite big.
Video cards at the time are if you have a video card, they're measuring their memory in megabytes.
Yes, that was a big deal. That was a huge deal. Megabytes were huge, man.
As the game begins, Barney Calhoun rides the tram from the Area 8 topside dormitories on the surface into the underground sector of the Black Mesa Research Facility. Along the way, we find out that people live at Black Mesa full time. There's a laundromat, there's fast food kiosks, there's the dormitories. Eventually, Barney is locked outside of the door to the Area 3 security facilities, and he's knocking on the door. He is passed by Gordon Freeman riding another tram heading towards Sector C.
Bye!
But again, that's something we see when playing as Gordon Freeman.
Yeah.
So, as a seemingly normal day at work starts, Barney visits security headquarters, including a shooting range and a surveillance room where it's possible to see Gordon Freeman again on camera, heading towards the HEV storage area, where, if you remember from our Part 1 live stream, there were 3 HEV suit bays with just 1 HEV suit left. More on that later on.
Hi, Gordon Freeman. Nice to see you again.
Honestly, it reminds me a little bit of when we played or discussed Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And how the protagonists were playing. I forget his name, Roy or Ray. McCoy. McCoy would see Deckard. Like, you'd see Deckard, but yeah. So it's kind of like that, where you can see Gordon Freeman on a screen, but you're never talking to him.
It'll be curious to see how many times in the night that these ships pass.
Barney is sent to help some scientists with an elevator. Along the way, he sees a pair of scientists vainly trying to fix a supercomputer. He also sees the G-Man passing by in a tram. After repairing the elevator, the resonance cascade occurs, wreaking the havoc we know was coming, causing the elevator jam. Soon the cables snap.
Oh.
Sending Barney and 2 scientists plummeting down the shaft, which we saw.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The elevator slams into the ground. Barney is knocked unconscious.
Yikes.
But we did see that elevator go whoosh.
Yeah. I was like, those guys are gone, aren't they?
Barney regains consciousness at the bottom of the elevator shaft in the sight of a hound eye.
Oh.
Safi's favorite enemy.
No.
Eating the body of another security guard.
Yikes.
The two scientists who are with Barney are dead, and so Barney moves on trying to find help as he traverses the industrial waste areas of Black Mesa.
I have to note, falling that hard on an elevator, the only reason his legs aren't broken is because he landed on a dead scientist. I just want to point that out, as morbid as it is, that his legs should be shattered from the force of dropping that far and then landing on a hard surface super quick.
Or if he ragdolled.
No.
If you went no? Even if you go unconscious, like you're completely limp?
No, it's the force of physics, because you're falling with it, and you're falling just as hard as that elevator hits the ground.
Yeah.
So this is the same reason why growing up, my mother always warned you should never jump in an elevator. Especially in an older elevator, there's a way where you can jump and you kind of float for a bit because of the physics of it. But my mom had read some offbeat story in a newspaper clipping, which children, I can tell you about how that worked later. But
Ask your parents.
Ask your parents. But some offbeat story in a newspaper, like side note, was a woman had jumped in an elevator and jumped at the wrong time. So the elevator went higher than she jumped. And she landed harder on her bent legs than she expected and broke her ankle doing that.
Ooh, fun.
And that's from a regular residential elevator that is not falling like 50 stories down a tunnel.
That's fair.
So he should be dead. So this demigod theory is actually pretty legit in my head right now.
Along the way through the industrial waste areas of Black Mesa, he sees how much things have gone crazy and how widespread the cascade has affected things. Mm-hmm. He also sees a pair of Marines dumping corpses into a sewer opening, immediately making the connection that the military is trying to cover up the disaster. They're not here to help.
Don't look at this, please. Thank you. Just put it under the picnic blanket. Nobody's going to notice.
Barney reaches the surface and encounters the HECU.
Hecku.
Yeah, we talked about them last time. Further cementing their missions are not one of rescue.
Nope.
He manages to fight through them and reach Dr. Rosenberg. Rosenberg is with a team of fellow scientists. They're all trying to escape the facility until the Marines caught them and locked them in rail cars.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Barney gets them out. Dr. Rosenberg advises Barney that the entire facility is surrounded by HECU Marines.
HECU.
The only way to escape is to use an old prototype of the Lambda Complex teleporter.
Oh, they have a teleporter now.
Well, they did to get to Zen. This is like a prototype version of it.
Okay.
If it works, they can reach an obscure entrance to Black Mesa, which, hopefully, hasn't been overlooked by the Marines. Mm-hmm. Barney and Rosenberg then find themselves in an abandoned, walled-up sector of the base originally built for research of the first teleport device.
Okay.
The two of them, alongside two other scientists, Bennett and Simmons, all try to restart the prototype teleporter. No dice. To resolve the issue, Barney is briefly teleported to a ruined human research camp on Zen to operate a triangulation device called the Focuser.
So they were doing research stuff on Zen this entire time.
Oh, yeah. For a long time.
Okay. Good
Basically, from this busted one, they can get to Zen, but getting to another point within Black Mesa is going to be a bit too difficult without the equipment.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Stargates. You know, you can't dial back to your own, a gate on your planet. So this unfortunately leads to another problem, as to send Barney to Zen and back used up all the power in the prototype. So Barney is sent down to a power facility level to find more batteries.
Okay.
He fights through a team of HECU Marines and aliens before he reaches the power facility. Finally nearing escape, Barney helps operate these simpler parts of the teleport to get all the scientists through. Once the scientists escape, he faces some HECU resistance before finally teleporting himself.
Okay, so he's the enemy of the HECU. He's telling them HECU left and right.
He finds himself in a safe location outside of Black Mesa with some cars laying about. He sees Simmons and Rosenberg trying to fix an SUV, and Bennett is trying to break open a gate with a crowbar. Barney starts glowing green from some strange energy discharge and is teleported to several locations, such as the Zen platform, a storage room in Black Mesa where he witnesses Gordon Freeman being carried off by a group of HECU soldiers to a trash compactor.
Hi!
Yeah.
Good luck with that, Gordon. Bye!
Yeah. Before he is transported back to the scientists. Barney finally ends up back at the yard, no longer glowing, They have fixed the SUV, and Rosenberg expresses his relief, explaining to Barney he is lucky that he has not been caught in an infinite loop of like these little jumps that he would be making.
You don't want the Black Mesa version of Groundhog Day. Nobody enjoys that.
Bennett finally pulls the gate open, and Blue Shift ends.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each of the games is like, each of these expansions, I should say, is not the whole length of the original story. They're smaller chunks.
Right. So this sounds like this would have been about like maybe a couple hours worth of play if you played it on its own. Yeah.
And it takes place like at this point, he just saw Gordon being tossed into a trash compactor. We knew that was maybe about
halfway almost.
I think around halfway, maybe a little bit after that. But yeah, he hasn't even made it to Zen yet. Like Barney gets to Zen before Gordon does.
That's hilarious.
Next expansion, Opposing Force.
Opposing Force. Are we going to learn physics now?
No. Unless the physics are bullets.
Sir Isaac Newton is the most dangerous.
Opposing Force, as you might guess from its name, has us in the shoes of a Hecu Marine.
No.
In this case...
We're the bad guy.
In this case, Corporal Adrian Shepard.
Adrian Shepard.
Yes.
Somebody who played Adrian Shepard in Mass Effect. I want to know the canon story of how you make this work.
As Adrian and his fellow Hecu Marines are approaching Black Mesa on their cleanup mission, his plane is shot down by alien craft.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Along with several of the other Osprey heliplanes. Adrian slips in and out of consciousness watching the other Marines fight against the Zen aliens.
They love having the slipping in and out of consciousness trope in the expansion packs they released, didn't they?
A little bit.
I guess it allows them to like kind of like smoothly. Yeah, you don't remember some of the stuff that you technically remembered from playing the full game. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that at all.
Fast and loose with the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Exactly.
Eventually, Adrian regains consciousness at an infirmary. Not too far from the crash site, actually. He leaves the infirmary, learning that the other Marines who survived the crash have all been killed by the aliens. He makes his way toward the extraction point, where he is told via radio that the military forces are being pulled out of the facility. So we're already at the point where the military is like, nope, we're done.
We're done. We tried our best, and it's over. So that is about the last third of the OG story. Okay.
Adrian attempts to reach the Hecu's extraction point to escape Black Mesa. He has first eye contact with the mysterious Race X, which is just the Zen creatures.
Oh, they called them Race X.
He has first eye contact with the mysterious Race X that seems to be collecting humans for studying their world. Race X is basically their designation for the aliens from Zen.
Okay.
Adrian does, in fact, reach the Hecu extraction point, but is deliberately left behind due to the G-Man's actions.
What do you mean by the G-Man's actions?
Basically, like, Adrian is not able to get to he is not able to get there in time.
The G-Man does something to prevent him.
The G-Man takes special interest. We'll get there.
G-Man, this is not cool.
Adrian therefore has to continue his journey through Black Mesa in search of both his comrades and an alternate escape route now.
Okay.
After traveling through a zombie-infested blast furnace, Adrian meets several other Marines from his company who have also been left behind. He joins forces with them as they try to escape from the facility. Adrian and the other Hecu soldiers attempt to find and use an old transit system to escape to Lambda Core after battling through an office complex filled with aliens. Mm-hmm. It's also the chapter in which the Black Ops are first introduced. If you remember them, they're the ones they're the cleaners who are sent after the cleaners.
It's like, heck you. It's time for Black Ops. I'm sorry, I was trying to make a pun and it failed miserably.
Yeah. Adrian comes across the Black Ops in a hangar where they are loading a nuclear warhead into the back of a truck.
There's no way that nuclear warhead is really cleaning up your mess. Like, how do you explain that away? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. So we're in the middle of just a routine, regular, like, inspection flight, trying to see how the landscape look. And then I just happen to drop this 40 megaton nuclear bomb on top of everything.
It is kind of in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico.
Those people still got cancer. I'm just saying. Nowhere, New Mexico. I don't know. I don't trust that.
Fair. The Black Ops are here to kill the remaining Hecu Marines and again do a total cover-up. Adrian meets with several other surviving Marines and fights the Black Ops, eventually reaching an underground railway system that leads to Lambda Complex. Adrian sees Gordon Freeman teleported to Zen.
Oh, wow. Just missed him.
And he's actually here to kill Gordon Freeman.
Oh,
he never
wow.
gets to that, but...
Man, inconvenient, right? This whole alien invasion
Yeah.
caused by like a lack of hubris on scientists' part really gets in the way of your boss's demands of you, doesn't it?
Adrian is forced to travel through to Zen on his own to find a way out of Lambda Complex. Basically, all paths in Black Mesa pass through Zen.
All roads lead to Zen?
Yeah.
No, all transporters lead to Zen. Excuse me.
Adrian eventually gets back to Black Mesa, where he finds himself in underwater laboratories where several ichthyosaurs are being held. We talked about these last time as well.
Oh, I totally forgot about these guys.
Yeah. After making his way through the labs and freeing a scientist who provides him with information in the area, Adrian is again forced to teleport to Zen and back again to reach a new part of Black Mesa. Gordon Freeman kept getting back to the surface in the game. For Adrian, it's hopping into Zen again and again at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Adrian is traveling between various biosphere chambers and laboratories featuring massive terrariums used to house Zen fauna being studied by scientists deep within Sector E. Eventually, he reaches an older industrial area and picks up a distress signal radio transmission from a group of Marines fighting some kind of massive creature.
Is this like... Please don't tell me this is going to be like the massive psychic fetus thing again.
No.
Okay. I'm still traumatized by that.
Adrian battles the monstrous pit worm, blocking his progress into Waste Processing Area 3.
Why is it some of the best science fiction action games have a boss fight that involves just a big old worm?
Yeah.
That just seems to be a go-to awesome fight sequence.
Yeah, I think it all dates back to the Rancor.
Yeah. That's...
Or the Sarlacc pit? I don't remember which one it is. The Rancor, I think, is the one that Luke fights, and then the Sarlacc is the...
The Sarlacc is just the pit.
Yeah.
The pit mouth where they just park there forever and then digest you over 70 years. What was I going to say? But wait a minute. Wouldn't it actually be from Dune? You know, the one that literally is all
That's
about
fair. Yeah.
worms?
Yeah. That is a fair point. My brain, that's why I laughed, and my brain went to some cut of Star Wars I saw where I think it's Han or Luke yells at C-3PO, "Tell Jabba that we're going to be dead long before we're digested. We're going to die from starvation." Like, so...
I don't know. There might be things for you to eat there.
No.
There might be a whole acidic ecosystem there to help sustain you just long enough to suffer and die.
I don't like this. George Lucas, don't listen.
Enjoy! He doesn't own the series anymore, remember? Hey, Mickey Mouse, don't listen.
Working his way through the surrounding area, he finds the Marines who sent the distress signal, all dead.
Oh, wow.
Adrian manages to dump toxic waste onto the pit worm, killing it and allowing him access to the next area, kind of like Gordon had to do with the tentacle thing.
Did he walk without rhythm?
Oh, jeez. There he finds, in the next area, a massive battle raging between the Race X creatures, the Black Ops contingent, including several snipers, and the remains of Heku in the last hours of the Black Mesa incident, as this thing eventually becomes called.
This is quite a ridiculous battle royale we've got going on.
Adrian makes us through the underground canals and sewers of Black Mesa, eventually arriving at a hydroelectric dam. Here, a gargantua has been trapped on top of the dam, and several Marines are attempting to kill it. Adrian uses explosives to destroy the creature and leaves the area through the dam's exposed water pipe. Adrian discovers the Black Ops in an underground parking garage, activating the thermonuclear warhead with the intent of destroying the whole facility.
You know, some of the best acts of war I've ever known have started in a parking lot.
Adrian kills them and deactivates the nuclear bomb, but later on sees the G-Man reactivating it.
Come on, G-Man. This is not fair. We worked really hard to live.
Oh, just wait. There's a not fair coming from the G-Man here.
No, G-Man, don't do this.
After making his way through warehouses filled with Race X creatures and Black Ops fighting, Adrian arrives at an old industrial area of Black Mesa where an enormous gene worm is attempting to come, and again, another worm, to come through a portal from the Race X homeworld. Adrian uses mounted laser weapons and to blind and kill it.
Pew pew.
In its death throes, an enormous teleportation portal spreads outwards and envelops him.
Well, wait. Does Adrian in particular envelops Adrian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrian regains consciousness inside an Osprey heliplane. There he is directly confronted by the mysterious G-Man.
What's up, G-Man?
As the G-Man talks to Adrian, a white flash occurs in the distance, indicating that the Black Mesa facility has been destroyed by the nuclear warhead.
Yikes.
Yes. The G-Man then informs Adrian that he will be detained, quote, in a place where you can do no possible harm and where no harm can come to you. He explains this is done since Adrian reminds him of himself, but also because Adrian is still a dangerous witness to the events that have transpired. The G-Man walks into a portal, Adrian is detained, and we end opposing force.
But that just makes it... okay. So he's going to be held indefinitely in some secret place.
Yes. Adrian Shepard is a character that has quite a few fans clamoring for more about him because, like, he is part of the bad guys, but he himself never actually kills a scientist. He's
a bad guy having a bad day doing the right thing.
Pretty much.
And wait, but yet the G-Man's like, also, you're like me. So wait, G-Man, does that mean you were human once? Or are we just...
So there are some inklings that he's not been forgotten about. You know, there were... And once Half-Life 2 came out, he's not been heard of since. He is still...
Well, I mean, the G-Man kept to his word then, really.
Yeah. But, you know, there are fans who want... There's actually mods that will retcon the whole series. They will remove Alex Vance from Half-Life 2.
I'm sorry, what?
And put Adrian Shepard in, and it kind of gets into a kind of a bromance type thing almost, maybe a little more than a bromance. So,
you know what? I'm here for the Adrian Gordon / fiction. I will be looking this up on AO3 after the recording. No, I won't. I'm joking, guys. But
there is a theory amongst the fans that Adrian Shepard was the G-Man's original candidate for the job he offers Gordon Freeman, but there were unforeseen consequences that changed the course of history with the Cascade.
Oh, so like kind of the G-Man predicted something like this would happen and Adrian would come and be a potential solution, but the Cascade didn't work out the way the G-Man expected.
That's what I'm gathering. When you get into fan theories, it gets really complex.
I mean, this is very much the idea of time as a soup. I just don't think you could ever truly put a finger on what exactly is happening. And it sounds like that Laidlaw is trying to say, please don't try. Don't try too hard.
We finally get to Half-Life Decay. Now, this is a departure from the other expansions, and actually most of the franchise, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say with that name already, it's signaling something very different.
So this was, first off, officially, as far as I can tell, only on the PS2. Like, you can play it on PC with mods, but it's not officially released on any other console. It's also a co-op storyline with 2-player characters.
Okay, I'm here for this.
Both female.
Nice.
It's also mission-based.
Okay,
so
that's very different.
Yeah, so our heroines have objectives in each area, and it's less of a through line from point to point. So it's a very different game.
I guess
it's not so different that it doesn't make sense, but it
sounds like there were a couple people on the team who wanted to try something different, and the people in charge were like, you know what? We don't really have a reason to say no, so you might as well try it.
So it's interesting you mentioned that somebody at the company, whatever. So none of these expansions I've just mentioned were developed by Valve.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know the developer who made all of these. This is where they kind of got their start in becoming more mainstream. These were all done by Gearbox.
Oh, interesting.
So,
isn't Gearbox now the people who developed Borderlands?
Yes.
Yeah, which, P.S., loved how absurd it is. So, and this makes perfect sense that one of their earliest things is a co-op shared kind of plot.
No, they did all of these.
Oh, they did all of these.
They did all these expansions.
But this one feels the most like the Gearbox that I know from having played Borderlands and Borderlands 2.
Well, this is it's more console too.
Yeah.
So The story begins with Gina Cross and Colette Green, two scientists who work at Black Mesa, arriving at the anomalous materials department right on time. Remember, Gordon arrived late.
First of all, they are the only two female scientists I've heard about through this entire coverage we've done of this storyline of this specific game. So, of course, they're there early. They do not want to hear about it from their peers. Look, Bozo Hair, I do not need the extra 45 minutes to make sure that I'm ready like you do. So I'm here, all ready to get going, and I've been waiting for you 20 minutes past the start time for this experiment. Hurry it up. That's the energy they probably bring every day to the office.
They are greeted by a security guard who comments how today is the big day, and they will be working with the new guy, Dr. Freeman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He also explains that a recent system crash may have wiped them both from the security system, so they'll have to recreate their security profiles. Sounds like Mass Effect. Yep. After getting scanned and re-added to the security system, the two doctors head to the anomalous materials control room. Dr. Keller greets them, but shows his annoyance at Freeman's lateness, saying, "I do not understand what Kleiner sees in that boy."
Oh, interesting.
Dr. Rosenberg then enters the control room and displays his disapproval at the anti-mass spectrometer being pushed so hard for this analysis. However, he caves in after Dr. Keller says it's not his decision, and if Rosenberg doesn't wish to see the experiment, he can go back to his little labs over by the train yard.
Interesting. Okay, which I guess he does?
Yeah. We have a lot more back and forth because we have little cutscenes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's mission-based, so you get story that it's not as easy to miss, because if you remember when we were playing, there's a lot of dialogue that you can miss.
You can miss. You have to walk up and annoy people to hear it, but it doesn't feel natural to do it.
No. Cross and Green get into their HEV suits. Those two empty bays we saw when Gordon arrived late were their suits.
Wait a second, but they're women, and he was in a men's...
It was just a locker room. I don't think it was a men's locker room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay.
At least that's my interpretation. I have not played this because I don't have a PS2 nor an emulator or whatever.
Right, exactly. Yeah. All right, moving on.
They go down to their respective areas for the experiment. Gina goes to the delivery chute to push the sample up to Gordon, and Colette goes into the lower area of the test chamber to turn on the power and set it to 80%. This is just to start. After Gina fixes a small problem in which a weird crowbar was mysteriously jammed inside the delivery chute's mechanism...
That's the G-Man, isn't it?
The sample is moved up to Freeman, inevitably leading to the resonance cascade we all know and love. Cross and Green black out for a period of time, because everybody does with this thing.
Oh my gosh, I called it. This is the trope for all of these expansion packs.
And wake up to see the lower part of the test chamber in shambles. They hear Dr. Keller and Rosenberg over the intercom. They're discussing kind of what to do. Dr. Rosenberg is intent on saving the personnel in the facility, while Dr. Keller wants to fix the tear created by the resonance cascade, saying they caused this mess, they should be responsible for fixing it.
I, for once, don't see a bad guy in this. One could alter reality as we know it. The other one's worried about his team.
Yeah.
Like, those are both noble causes.
After finding pistols and finding their way through part of the laboratory, the two doctors make their way back to the control room. Keller and Rosenberg tell them, everyone's a doctor, so sorry, it's going to get confusing a little bit. Mm-hmm. Keller and Rosenberg tell them that they have reached an agreement. They will escort Dr. Rosenberg up to the surface to call the military, and Keller will stay below to assess the damage made to the equipment. With any luck, he'll be able to find what caused the experiment to go wrong and how they can put things right.
Okay, all right.
Doctors Cross and Green make it to the observation room of the hazard course with Rosenberg. You remember the hazard course?
Oh my gosh, that was hazardous, all right. Ugh.
Safi had to quit halfway through the tutorial. It was great. However, the platforming, just no.
I can't do first-person platforming in particular. It's heinous.
Yeah, Metroid Prime does it decently, but that's because Metroid Prime has that little look down as you jump so you can see where you're going.
I'm sure that's why they developed it, to make it less awful.
Yeah. However, the lift to the surface isn't functioning, so the two must venture through the now derelict training area in order to get down to the maintenance shaft and raise the lift manually. They head through multiple portions of the course, now in terrible condition due to the resonance cascade. Once they get to the maintenance area, they raise the lift using a lever system and climb back up to where Rosenberg is waiting. They fight and destroy 2 sentries, which are out of control and shooting anyone on sight, kill a zombie, get on the train, end of the course, end of the objective, done, next chapter. We're not going to do chapter breaks anymore.
Okay.
Gina, Colette, and Rosenberg reach the surface with the objective of accessing the satellite communication center to contact the military, as Rosenberg hopes they will secure the facility and escort the personnel to safety, which he's wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I find it interesting there's not a fail-safe comm system. Like, if base explodes, automated system kicks in to call the military. You know, if something goes haywire, that should be like an alarm ringing somewhere.
So, logically, you make a lot of sense. But also, the one thing the government's really good is preparing for a disaster that has already occurred. This is actually really well documented in... There's a YouTube series that just recently changed their name, so unfortunately I forgot what it's called, but they did a recent deep dive into basically what happened to cause the one flight during 9/11/2001 to actually have the passengers thwart the attempt with the plane from those who from the terrorists who took it. And one of the things that's early on mentioned in there is that there was a lot of really clear systems and protocols for emergencies that already happened, but because what happened on September 11th, 2001 was so new and unprecedented, all of these systems failed to prevent what was happening.
Oh, okay.
And if you're talking about a government system not having a failsafe, like to call a certain way during an emergency, it immediately made me think of that.
Fair.
And it's because, I mean, yeah, you have never had a cascade event happen before. Would you know that this is something that you need to cover? No, absolutely not.
Fair enough. I would just figure if half the systems go dark, maybe that triggers something.
But
I get it.
Yeah, you'd have to believe that half the systems can go dark.
Fair. All right.
You might not believe that before this moment.
However, when they get to the satellite communication center, they find the front door locked because, of course, it is. At this point, I think we realize that half of Half-Life is door locked, go around.
Door locked, shoot window, please.
No, there's no window.
Oh, God. Door locked, crowbar wall, please.
Door locked, go 4 rooms over and then come back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's actually more accurate.
The locked door forces Gina and Colette to circle around through nearby warehouses to get to the unlocked back entrance. Once inside, they manually align the satellite dish, and Rosenberg successfully contacts the military, while Gina and Colette head back down to Sector C, where Dr. Keller is. Mm-hmm. They return to Anomalous Materials with Dr. Keller. Dr. Keller decides that the best course of action is to re-engage the dampening fields, which he feels would end the resonance cascade. Fair enough.
Dampen the resonance cascade? That's pretty logical.
To do this, Gina and Colette travel through the facility and successfully reset the secondary and primary dampening locks. However, the dampening fields fail soon after.
Oh, man.
Keller discovers that the failure was caused by intentional interference from the other side of the rifts and realizes that not all the aliens might be there by accident.
So they intentionally wanted to come in and force an invasion after they saw that humans were like poking around their planets?
Keller hatches a plan to create a resonance reversal using the prototype displacement beacon in the Gamma Labs. However, he needs a satellite in orbit before he can go through with the plan. Personnel in the High Altitude Launch Center are ready to launch the satellite, but due to a military air traffic lockdown that's in effect, they can't.
Oh, okay.
To remove the lockdown, an all-clear code is needed. Keller, Colette, and Gina use the transit system to get to the nearby Level 3 dormitories. There, they begin searching for security guard with the codes. Their task is made more difficult by the fact that HECU soldiers are also present doing what they do.
So, are the HECU soldiers trying to get rid of the people who aren't working and just hanging out in their civilian quarters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Eventually, the security guard is found. Armed with the clearance codes, Gina, Colette, and Keller travel back to the Black Mesa Air Control Facility. Mm-hmm. After some more fighting, they proceed to enter the all-clear code and lift the lockdown. With the all-clear done, lockdown is done, they can now find their way to the Gamma Labs. The next task for Gina and Colette is to manually raise the prototype displacement beacon in the Gamma Labs to the surface so it can be activated. Keller reaches the main lab area, but cannot raise the beacon from where he is because there's an obstruction. Maybe someone left a crowbar. They didn't. Gina and Colette fight through a bunch of Heku Zen creatures and finally reach the beacon, clear the obstruction, blocking him from ascending, and then raise it.
Let the women do the work, man. They're getting a lot done compared to their peers across the... I mean, obviously Gordon Freeman did a lot. And a lot of it was him fumbling around being like, I'm just a scientist. What am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah.
But, I mean, Colette and Gina, they make a great team.
Gina and Colette return to Keller in the lab control area where he gives them the task of activating the beam matrix system, which provides the power required for the prototype displacement beacon. Of course, this isn't across the room or down the hall. No, to do this, they have to take an elevator up to the alien quarantine labs, which have become overrun with Zen creatures.
Yeah, I guess they're not so quarantined anymore, are they?
Eventually, they reach the beam matrix and attempt to activate it while simultaneously defending it from waves of Vortigons and grunts.
Just when you said waves, I didn't think of it in terms of enemies, but in terms of like, yeah, a pool. Like it's a wave pool. They turn it on. It's like, woo!
That's horrifying. The beam matrix is activated, and Gina and Colette return to Keller, who is making the final preparations for the resonance reversal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what we were doing originally.
Gina and Colette are forced to defend the displacement beacon against waves of Zen again. In the midst of the battle, both characters are caught in what is explained as a harmonic reflux by Dr. Keller. Eventually, Gina and Colette return safely, and Dr. Keller congratulates them on their success. The resonance reversal presumably has the effect of severely weakening the resonance cascade. It's still unclear whether all the doctors managed to survive the nuclear explosion that occurred at the end of opposing force, though.
I mean, if you're deep enough underground, maybe, but surviving that doesn't mean you get to live soon after that.
Right. We have no idea. We never hear of Gina, Colette, I think Keller or Rosenberg again.
We don't see them again until they're actually ghouls and it's actually Fallout 25.
Oh, jeez. So, yeah, in broad strokes, those are the three main story expansions for Half-Life 1.
I'm very impressed. Gearbox did a really good showing with the diversity of storytelling that they had there in particular.
Yeah.
And their ability to pivot and allow people who aren't the usual... I mean, Valve did this with Gordon Freeman, too. I mean, a physicist...
MIT physicist who just has the drive and the gumption to stick with it.
MIT physicist who's having the worst work day ever, and the only thing he can depend on is a crowbar and his tenacity. Yeah, that's pretty unique, and that's probably part of the reason why the series has been, so lauded. But Gearbox kind of took that idea and they're like, oh, you want uncommon heroes in exceptional situations having to do crazy stuff to survive? Here you go. Here's
run-of-the-mill security guard.
Run-of-the-mill security guard. 2 fellow scientists who just been caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. And
one of the bad guys.
And a bad guy actually becoming one of the best guys. But the G-Man then proceeds to take him prisoner.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's my headcanon now, is that the G-Man cryogenically freezes Adrian Shepard, and that's actually the Shepard we get in Mass Effect 2.
So pin in that, because nobody sees Gordon Freeman for 20 years. I think it's 2 decades. I don't know. I remember exactly, but Gordon just pops back into existence essentially. I
like the idea. It's just like he's just blinks and it's like, boop, like, oh, I guess I'm here now.
Kind of. We'll cover Half-Life 2 eventually, which I find Half-Life 2 fascinating. I love playing Half-Life 2. So
the G-Man memes are now making so much more sense. Actually, isn't there the one where you just zoom up on it and his face is just spinning for no reason? Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for diving into this one, Mystic, because this is always a series that there are plenty of series like this where I'm interested, I'm intrigued. I think that it does cool things, but I know I will never finish playing the game because I'm trash at it. And if the live stream has not proven, I mean, you guys will be able to laugh at me at the next live stream happening the Thursday after this opens to public, so you'll be able to see what I mean by that.
Now, I'm debating because Half-Life Alyx takes place between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. I think. I haven't looked into it, but I think it's between those two. But it's VR only.
Yeah.
And I want a VR headset. So remember, that's patreon.com/loretogether to help us get that.
With a per episode pledge, and if you can't make a high enough per episode pledge to get us there, please invite your friends.
Yeah. I mean,
make it a community effort.
I will start doing live streams of other games in VR as well, because I want to, I want to play Firmament, I want to play Abduction, I want to play Myst, all Cyan games were all VR. Riven would be amazing. There's also other VR games I'm intrigued by, but again,
I only want to play Firmament if I get to put my spin on it from the one shot that I'm running at Gen Con. But that's another story for another day.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks so much for listening. Just a reminder, live stream of not Half-Life Alyx, but...
No, we don't have that one.
So I'm assuming it's either going to be Half-Life Opposing Force or Half-Life Blue Shift, because those are the two that are available on PC.
I will leave that up to the patrons.
Okay, patrons, you can vote. Patreon.com/loretogether. And then on alternate Thursdays, we are still doing our Mass Effect 2 live stream. Yep. But please feel free to join us, where I might be singing more about its raining crabs.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. When a fan clips something ridiculous like that, I actually shared that with a friend, and I said, it's the fact that you're so casual about singing it, and then you scream. And then you hear your husband laughing in the background. All right. But thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
We will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.